Hey, what's up guys? So we're going to be doing a deck profile for agents because, it's a pretty good deck and, kind of came back. This is just going to be more of a pure agent build. I'm also playing double Christia, so it is pretty good as far as going against the meta, especially when you can get out Christia pretty early on in the game. But yeah, let me go over my deck profile and then I'll explain my choices as I go along. So first off, I'm running double Shine Ball because, it wouldn't really be agents without making Gotchi, to be honest. I only like to play 2 Shine Ball. One, because I don't like to draw, as many. And I feel like the third Shine Ball usually just gets, destroyed. I mean, like, you pay another 500 life, and then, I mean, sure, it's good to get more fairies engraved, don't get me wrong on that, but it's just because I don't like drawing them. Like, drawing one's okay, but when I was playing 3, I always drew them, and even when I didn't draw them, I'd be like, okay, pay 1,500, get 3 Shine Balls. I go Gotchi, and the last Shine Ball, what do I do with it? It just sits there. Unless, I have Birdman or something like that. Like, generally, it just sat there, and I just didn't really like it. But yeah, that's just kind of my choice. And then next I'll play 2 Christia, because I feel like Christia is really good against the meta. You summon this, a lot of decks just, they lose. And then next up, Blackluster Soldier, because he's Blackluster Soldier. He's pretty good. I don't think we really need an explanation for him. But yeah, Birdman, also a really good card, especially because, Tour Guide is at 2 now, so it lets you reset your one of your Tour Guides. Because you go Tour Guide to Tour Guide, you bounce back a Tour Guide, and then you still have a Tour Guide for Sangan. Pretty good stuff. Also, he has really good synergy with the deck, just in general, just to make stuff and make pushes. I mean, you can make a quick Levier, get back your Banish Agent, then banish it again to get a Hyperion. You just have so many options with him. I like this card in the deck. Then I play Gores, and then I play Honest, and then I play double Marshmelon, just because I played the double Christia, and sometimes you open up with a cloggy hand, like one like this, maybe something like this. There's a lot of big monsters. Maybe you open up 2 Hyperion and a Space Typhoon. There are times where you open up a little bit bad in here. I'm not gonna say you don't, because you play a lot of cards where let's talk about cards real quick that are not good first turn sometimes against certain decks. If you open up like this. Maybe you drew horrible and you had Shine Balls too. Look at that. There's already 9 monsters right there where you can just draw, and against certain decks you won't be able to use for a long time until you get that one card you need. But yeah, I felt like, to balance the double Christia, because sometimes you just can't get her out, and also with triple Hyperion, sometimes you just have too many big monsters that have a little bit hard of summoning condition to get early on in the game, sometimes, depending on your hand. But Marshmelon definitely helps out with that. I love this card against Dino Rabbit, because they're like, oh no, it takes them a while to get over it. Kind of like Spirit Reaper. But the thing with this, they can't lance it, which was nice. But the main reason why we play, he's Fairy. He does deal burn damage, which is okay. But he's also rank 3, so it allows me to go for XYZs. Also, a great card in here, that I didn't actually mention, but we'll get into it right now. You have lots of room in the extra deck. You can just actually take that out. There we go. Now our deck's complete. But this card recently, it's not actually out yet. As far as in the game, there is a dual terminal version, but it is Daigusto Phoenix. Let's go over this card real quick, because generally in this deck, if you guys don't know, you make this card when you go for Shine Ball, but if you do have the option to go for this card, he's pretty good because he requires 2 level 2 monsters, just like Gotchi, and once per turn you can attach 1 material from this card to target 1 face-up wind monster you control. During this turn, it can attack twice during each battle phase. So, pretty good stuff. If you have Stardust, pretty good stuff, because Stardust basically becomes 5,000 attack total. I'm glad it doesn't double the attack, because that would make this card way too good. I'm glad it has that, attack twice. He's a Pyro? Huh. I thought it'd be like a winged beast, but that said, well, I guess he is kind of on fire. He's on blue fire. But, yeah, Daigusto Phoenix, also a pretty good card. You definitely keep that in your extra deck, I would say, just because if you can go for game, why not? But yeah, as far as, I think we're talking about Marshmallow, yeah, he stalls against a lot of decks. A lot of decks don't like dealing with it, and Dino Rabbit will be popular, I would say, because everything is getting reprinted. But yeah, Marshmallow, sometimes against Dark Worlds, they'll hit your back row, and then they can't get over Marshmallow until they have Skill Drain, which is pretty funny. Or they have to use another Grapha effect, and if they're going to Grapha for a Marshmallow, it's not the end of the world for you, right? But yeah, he's basically just Fairy, and that's the main reason why I run him, and he does stall. And it helps out with the consistency issue of, running double Christia. Then I play triple Hyperion. Hyperion lets me control the amount of fairies in my grave, and also he is pretty good. I mean, there's very limited talking about Hyperion, you just kind of summon him and then you go for game. Keep in mind, you can banish from your hand, so if Necro Valley is on the field, because I just did a deck profile on Gravekeepers, you can always just banish one agent from your hand, and that's what really makes him so much better, is because maybe you only have one agent in the graveyard, and you're like, okay, well, I don't need more Venuses because I've already went through my Shine Balls. You can just banish one of the Venuses in your hand. That also does work quite well, and then you can maybe go for a Levier play with like a Tour Guide and get back that Venus. So, there's a lot of options there. Keep that in mind. This deck is, it's got a lot of great combos. It's got a lot of potential to OTK. Next up, I played 2 Maxi. I don't really like playing Veiler or Herald of Orange Light. Herald of Orange Light is a great card, don't get me wrong, sometimes, but against certain decks, you end up just going 2-, and if you don't have like the cards you need, and it's just unfortunate. But yeah, you could opt to play Herald of Orange Light. You can play 2 Maxi, 2 Veiler. I personally do like the Maxis because, again, I really think that Dino Rabbit is going to be big in the next couple weeks because people will be playtesting it because of the reprint that is coming out really soon. So keep in mind, you better have your Maxis ready to go in your main decks, I would say, for the upcoming weeks, because Dino Rabbit will be getting a lot more popular. The next time we play Sangan. Sangan pretty much searches out a lot of stuff. It searches out Honest, it searches out Birdman, it searches out, you can search out Shine Ball. But no, pretty much the things you're going to go for with Sangan most of the time are going to be this, and this, and you can go for that if you wish. Or Maxi, depending if you're playing like against some, maybe you're playing against windups. Yeah. But yeah, Sangan's very good in this deck. And then I play Triple Venus because I like to open up with it as much as possible. Basically, after I use my Venus play, the rest are just kind of used there to just, banish for Hyperion, essentially. They don't really do much. And then I play Double Earth. Earth is really good because it's also a tuner. And we're going to jump into the synchros right here. I want to mention this card because I like tuner. There are like not that many great light tuners, to my knowledge. I know Herald of Orange Light is also a tuner, which is kind of why I really wanted to play this card, but I like Maxi, especially because of Dino Rabbit being a little bit popular. And in this deck, if you draw off of like Maxi, you can just overpower that deck so easily because you have so many options. But this card's pretty good. So while you're at life, it's like a reverse Megamorph. So basically, when you're winning, you get to win even more by increasing the attack of this card equal to the difference. Pretty good stuff. Also, this is another effect that not a lot of people realize with Ancient Sacred Wyvern. When this card is destroyed by battle into the graveyard, you can pay 1,000 life points to special summon him back to the field. So he's got at least 2,000 defense, so he's just good. He is level 7 though, so keep that in mind that it's not too easy to make, it's not too difficult, but like when you do make him, he is pretty good. If you have the option to go for him, you can OTK your opponent pretty easy with him. Next up, Tour Guides, pretty self-explanatory because sometimes you really need that Earth to really get your deck started. Like I mentioned earlier, you can draw awful, like it happens in this deck. That's why, again, I play the double Marshmallow to help me out with that. Next up, Tragodi, because sometimes you have like a large monster hand. Again, this card just works well in the deck. Overall, you could just, if you already went through Venus, maybe they have a Sangan on board, you can take their Sangan, overlay, and then, just go for your other plays. I just really like this card. It lets you like just ditch a fairy really quick into the graveyard, because you do also have Hyperion, and you do have Christia, so you can take a lot of different levels in here, and I do like that, and then you can just, get out Christia once you have the perfect amount. I think it's really awesome. And then I play Dark Hole, Heavy Storm, Mind Control, because I do play a decent amount of tuners. I was playing Veiler earlier. What are my other tuners? There we go. So I play 3 tuners essentially, but now with XYZs, it's just like, oh, it's cool, let me just take it. And then, you can just go for it. And also, this deck can OTK really easy, so if they have like a Stardust on board, you're just like, it's cool, let me just take your Stardust. Let me go for my play. If you want to do anything, I'll negate it, and then I'll just OTK you anyways. But yeah, I really feel like Mind Control is pretty good in this deck. Next up, Reborn, because it's Reborn. 1 Space Typhoon. I was playing Forbidden Lance for a while, but then I went back to Mystical Space Typhoon because Mystical Space Typhoon gets rid of the Dark World field spell, and that is really what kills this deck, because it doesn't matter how many Christias you have in your hand, because if they have the field spell, Grapha is at 3,000, and if you don't have Honest, you basically lose. But if you have Mystical Space Typhoon, you can go bye-bye, Gates of the Dark World. Then you summon Christia, and then they get pretty sad unless they have another Grapha. But yeah, I really like this card. It's just like, just that one, it works perfectly fine for me. You can opt to play Lance, you can opt to just negate this card completely. But yeah, I think it's okay at 1. Then I play Double Duality, because, you don't always need to special summon. But it is nice when you can. And then play a Double Bottomless, 1 Compulse, 1 Solemn Judgment, and 2 Solemn Warning. 2 Torrential Tribute, and we already went, the Space Typhoon was over here. You could opt to play a Starlight Road in here because when you can get out like a Stardust Dragon and then you can summon Christia, you win. Like, the only out to getting rid of Christia in most decks is going to be Dark Hole. And the thing is, Christia just comes back. So unless they're going to be able to finish you off or get a monster with over 3,000 attack, I mean, even sometimes attack isn't even a big deal because you just go Christia, get back Honest, you know, and that's such an unfair play. Christia is so annoying for people to deal with, and I don't blame him. Like, it is kind of easy to get out sometimes. Like, you can get out, you know, second, third turn really easy sometimes. But at other times, it is kind of one of those dead cards. So it does have the drawbacks. But that is, again, why I'm playing, like, the Marshmallows and stuff. On with the extra deck, because you can make, you know, a lot of different things. So I would recommend playing Catastor. It's pretty good. This is another card that's pretty good. I recommend also putting this in. There's so many times where I've gotten over Xian or gotten over Stardust by making Gaia Knight, and I really do like Gaia Knight. He gets the job done sometimes. Scrap Dragon, Stardust Dragon. We already talked about this card, Gachi. You could play multiple Gachis in here. If you want to play, you know, multiple Shine Balls, that is also an option. Because, you know, if you want to, you know, go for, you know, other things. There's also a card which I do want to, I think, is it Dark Space Mist? Yeah, okay. So this is number 96, Dark Mist. If you do want to play triple Shine Ball, you can go for him. But he is susceptible to things like Deep Prison, and then, you know, you kind of paid, you know, 1,500 to get him out, and then your Venus is all alone. I like the Gachi just overall much better. Yeah, he's only got 100 attack, but pretty much your opponent has going to have to destroy them by a card effect or banish them or something like that. He is a dark, though, which I do like because one Chaos Sorcerer was at 3. I liked playing him because I could go Chaos Sorcerer, and then I would have all my Shine Balls there, and then he would be the dark, so I can just recycle like all my Chaos Sorcerers. Because once I banish Dark Mist plus a Mystical Shine Ball, I would then, you know, once Chaos Sorcerer dies, I would still have another Dark, and then I'd have all my lights. But Chaos Sorcerer's at 1 right now, so I don't really like playing Dark Mist anymore. But he was pretty fun. There are certain times where going against him, or making him against certain decks, just kind of helped out just a little bit. Like Heroes, they really didn't like this card. That was a really annoying card for them to deal with for a while. But as far as the extra deck, I will recommend you to definitely play this. I mean, everything else is pretty standard. So I would say for the cards that you might not be familiar with, check these out. Everything else, you should, yeah, I would say check out Ancient Sacred Wyvern, and then check out Daigustu Phoenix if you do not know what those cards do, because I think that they do gel pretty well in this deck. But you'll definitely want this. Like, things that you have to have, I would say definitely Gachi. Other than that, I mean, you'll probably want the basic stuff like Zenmane's Black Rose, Stardust. Yeah, I mean, this is the deck profile for Agents because it is a popular deck, it is a budget deck, and, you know, I've got requests to make a lot of budget decks, so pretty much everything in here. I mean, this got reprinted. It is still a little bit of a pricey card, I know, yeah, even from London Collection, but we can fix this really quick, and we can put in, oh, Maxi's getting a reprint, so maybe if you don't have these now, let me just go and show you some other cards. You could play multiple Shine Balls, and let me show you Herald of Orange Light. Is that how you spell it? This is how, I guess. There we go. Can't even spell orange. Okay, so this is Herald of Orange Light. So during either player's turn, when an opponent's effect monster's effect activates, you can send this card and one other fairy type monster from your hand to the graveyard to negate the activation and destroy it. So this card is pretty good, but you do have to go minus. So it's like a Veiler that you go minus, but it destroys the monster. Also, you know, you can definitely OTK through Gorse with this card, which is great. That is the one benefit with this card. Plus, he's a tuner. Also, it lets you get more fairies for Christia, and then when you go Christia, add this back. It gets pretty nasty sometimes. But I've noticed sometimes, if you do want to play 3, I will just say that if you're going to play 3, I would recommend you definitely to play another Shine Ball just so you can ditch the Shine Ball. It is pretty nice. But yeah, you can definitely play this if you're just going to wait for the Maxis, because, I mean, or if you want to play Veilers, that's also an option. But I feel like Herald of Orange Light definitely just a little bit better than Veiler in here, because, again, you kind of want the fairies in the grave, the high fairy count, in order to get out your bigger, stronger monsters. And if you were going to play Herald, I would say you could maybe take out like Marshmallows if you would like. That way you don't have to worry about stalling. You can just get rid of their monster. But yeah, I would say the only bad matchups this have sometimes is Dark World, because you can't get over that 3,000 attacker. Once they flip the skill drain, oh, it is so difficult to get over, because then like you have your Hyperions, you have your Trags, and like you have so many like cards that can technically get over. But once someone flips up a skill drain with Graph at 3000, a lot of decks simply just don't have the answers to that. And this is one of those decks where you kind of have that problem. There is one recommendation I will say to you guys, if you guys are having a problem with Dark World. You could opt to perhaps take out something and put it in Dimension Prison. But Dark Worlds have kind of slowly, kind of went away just a little bit because they haven't been doing so well. And also, a lot of decks are getting reprinted. I know Dino Rabbit is getting basically the entire deck reprinted. So I would say that would be the deck that you should look out for. And Dark Worlds, I mean, this card isn't bad against Dino Rabbits, but Herald will also get the job done just as well. And also, it's great. One note with Herald is let your opponent activate Logia's effect, and then you can chain this to negate it, and then that way, you can be safer. Like if you're afraid of a Solemn Warning, like you want to go for a Chrysia, and you know that they have a Solemn Warning down and they have a Logia, they might just go, okay, negate your summon with Logia, and then you go, it's cool, I'll chain Herald of Orange Light. Now my summon goes through, and now you have a dead Solemn Warning. So there's always ways to just use little advantages with this. I'm trying to think of any plays that are like good at. I mean, early on in the game, you can just a way to like kind of overextend. If you have this, you can go banish this card to special summon Hyperion. Then you go summon Tour Guide, make a Levier, and then you can get it back. And then on the field, this is what you can have. So let's just put these all back over here. So on the field, you have a Hyperion. You'll have a Venus, and you'll make Gotchi, and then you'll also have a Levier, and that is pretty decent amount of damage there. I want to check how much damage that is if you have Gotchi and attack. But so you have Gotchi also boosts the attack of all monsters by 400 essentially, because you'll have 2 materials on the field. So Gotchi is 900 by himself. Since I'm so bad at math, guys, I'm gonna have to do this. I'll do this easily. So I'm gonna do 27 plus 400, and then that's 31, and then we got 2,000 from Venus. And then we got Gotchi, which is 900, and then we got Levier, which is 18 plus another 400. Oh, that's OTK. See, guys, it's not even that hard to OTK. You have triple Hyperion, you have triple Venus, and then you just have, the Tour Guide. So, I mean, it's not too hard to open up, or it will have to be a Venus. But yeah, you can OTK in this deck so easy. And this deck is definitely a really good deck, and it is relatively inexpensive, I would say. The only expensive card I would say is Blockbuster Soldier, and that is kind of an optional card, to be honest. But yeah, that's another budget deck profile for you guys, because I know you guys want some deck profiles that are budget, because I do tend to play expensive decks just because I just like them. They just happen to be expensive. Although I think, actually, E-Heroes are pretty cheap now. Yeah, E-Heroes are actually pretty cheap. So yeah, actually, because that's the deck I've been playing the most, as you guys noticed. This deck profile is going to be really long, but I hope this helps you guys out. If you guys were playing Agents as well, as you can just see how some cards work well with each other, and other choices that you can play if you guys are playing Agents and you want to mix it up. I would definitely say putting in Marshmallow is like the best thing ever, because I've won games with it. It's just so funny to burn your opponent for 1,000 when they attack into Marshmallow. And some decks, again, just can't deal with Marshmallow. They're like, oh, a monster that can't be destroyed by battle. 6 Samurais don't like this card either, because unless they have Hand of the 6 Samurai, this card's going to sit on the field for a little bit. But thanks for watching, guys. Asian White Dragon signing out.